Um, this was advertised to be 10 tips for your iPhone to make your iPhone terrific. We will do that, but of course Apple have upped the ante, as it were, because they've released the latest operating system, iOS 14, and I plan to talk about that at the end. There are probably going to be people whose iPhones are not capable of updating to iOS 14. They may or may not be interested in staying for that bit, but they might learn something that might persuade them to go out and buy a new phone that will be updated to iOS 14. So the notes for the 10 tips are already on the AVPALS website. As Greg said, he will record the presentation, and you'll be able to see it again if you can stand it. So where do we start? Well, let me say first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the screen with my iPhone, and this will help us understand what it is that we're doing. So just bear with me a second. Hopefully this will work. It's worked a few minutes ago. So here we go. So that's the phone that I'm going to be using. It's an XR phone, so it's quite a modern one. It's already been updated to iOS 14, but some of the things that we're going to be talking about are applicable both to iOS 14 and to previous operating systems. So where do we start? Well, you might think that you're going to learn lots of fancy tricks. Well, hopefully you are, but we're going to start off with two very, very mundane and run-of-the-mill things, which I think are extremely important for you to be able to get the best out of your iPhone. And the first one is backup, backup, backup. 3 times. It's one of the most important things you can do with your phone. It's like having comprehensive insurance on your car. You hope you don't need it, but you wouldn't stop paying it. And I think with backup, it's almost a question of when you're going to need it rather than if you're going to need it. So how do we back up the phone? Oh, one thing I'll explain. Can you see this red circle on the iPhone? That's because I can't actually show you what my fingers are doing. I've actually installed or connected my phone to a mouse. So imagine that's my finger. So how do you back up an iPhone? We go to settings. Whoops. And yeah, and click on this bit here where it says Apple ID. That's fallen at the first hurdle. So I'm now going to scroll down the page, and you'll see we have iCloud backup here. Click on that. Sorry, I clicked on the wrong thing. Okay. And you can back it up by now clicking backup now. That's one way of doing it, but I don't actually think that's the best way of doing it. I think the best way of doing it is when you're charging your phone, as long as you're in an area where you've got Wi-Fi, if you switch the phone off, it will then automatically back up. And that to me is much the best way of doing it. I know it's not intuitive, the fact that you switch it off, but that's what Apple have got us to do. So every time you charge your phone, switch it off. and it will automatically back up. So that's the first thing, backup. The next thing is battery health. The thing that uses most battery in your iPhone is your screen. So if you don't need a bright screen, you should actually dim it. And the way you do that is you go onto display and brightness down here, and you can then slide this thing along. It's actually not making much difference to mine. Maybe that's because, okay. It's making a difference on the phone, but that's actually not being transmitted to you. I can actually tell you it is actually going lighter and darker. So I would suggest you have a brightness in about the middle. So that's the one aspect of battery, is how quickly does the charge run down. The other aspect of battery is how long does the battery last in terms of days, years, etc. And you should look after the battery by charging it on a regular basis. Don't leave it plugged in for long periods, and occasionally let your iPhone run down to, say, about 20%. That actually adds to the life of the battery, and hopefully you then won't need a new one. Okay, so that's backup, battery. Now I'm going to look at some of the apps that we've got. One of the relatively recent apps is called AVPALS. I'm just searching for it on mine. Yeah, okay. So this is the AVPALS app, and what this does, it enables you to connect immediately to storage in the cloud. And if I click on what I'm connected to here, I don't believe it. The mouse has died. So I'm just going to have to use my finger now. It won't be as good, but I'm tapping on the AVPALS app. Oh, and can you see we've now got iCloud Drive, Google Drive, and Dropbox. Those are all cloud storage facilities that I use, and AVPALS app is a good way, an easy way of actually connecting to them all. So I don't know whether you use Google Drive and Dropbox. You certainly use iCloud Drive because that comes as part of the phone. One of the problems as you use your phone more and more is a large number of apps there are, and I often find that I can't actually find where the app is. But there's a really useful feature which applies not only to apps, but it applies in your email account, it applies in notes, it applies in the calendar, and that's the search facilities. If you just drag down from the top of the screen, can you see we've now got a search area, and you can now find an app that's been hidden. So I'm going to find one called AVPne. So I type in AVPne, and there it is. So you can use that to search for emails in the Mail app. You can search for emails all from the same person by putting in the person's name, or all on the same subject if you type in the subject name. It's pretty good because it will actually pick up odd words that are also in emails. You just have to be a bit careful how you actually choose what the search phrase is. Right, okay. Now, I don't know how many of you have got iPhones without the home button. Anything after 8, I think it was, shipped without a home button. And a lot of people find that quite disconcerting. I know I did to start with, because you're so used to the home button taking you back to the home screen. But what I've done on here, can you see that white circle that there is? That's actually a virtual home button. So if you find that you really miss the home button so much, you can actually install it. I'll show you how to do that in a second. The other thing is that I'm told that one of the things that wears out most or quickest on a phone that does have a home button is actually the home button. So it might be quite a good idea to actually use the virtual home button instead. And the way we do that, we go to settings. I'm going to scroll down, and can you see there's one called accessibility, which is where you can actually modify the way in which the iPhone works. If you're hard of hearing, if you can't see well, for all sorts of things. So I'm going to tap on that, and you can start to see all the sorts of things that you can have there. And it is worth exploring that and just investigating what they all do. We haven't got time to look at them all now, but I'm going to show you how you would actually use, or sorry, how you would activate the virtual home button. Okay, so I'm going to tap on the subject which says touch. Okay, and at the top it says assistive touch. So I'm just going to tap on that and switch it off. And can you see the virtual home button has now disappeared? If I turn it back on again, it appears. And it, as I say, it acts like a home button. So if I tap on it, it acts exactly like a home button. Okay. Now, a few days ago, I actually sent you all an email asking you to download a QR reader. That was a wild goose chase, as it happens, because I realized afterwards, well, sorry, somebody told me, somebody who shall not be named, told me that it was already installed in most up-to-date iPhones. So I'm just going to have a quick look at what the QR scanner does for you. So here's my QR reader. Okay, and what that does, it opens the camera. And I've actually got a QR code actually on my computer, which I'm going to. Can you see that it happened very quickly, but the reader actually picked up the QR code that's there, and it tells you where it's going to link to. So if I tap on that, it takes us to the AVPALS website. You may have seen these QR codes for booking into hotel, cafes and other places. One of the places that I know it happens is at Harris Farms. And again, I've taken a photograph of the Harris Farm code. And can you see the reader has already picked that up? And if you tap on where it says Apps Harris Farm, it then gives you the ability of entering your name, and that actually records the fact that you're there. and it acts as a COVID tracing aid in case there was some person taken ill at Harris Farms at the time that you were there. It can also be used for in different ways. Here I've got a packet of smoked salmon, and if you turn it over, it has a QR code on the back, and the reader has recognized it, and it takes us to the recipe using that product. So it can be used in marketing. Okay, moving on. The iPhone is a very good place for recording health information, because if you have an accident, first responders can actually get access to vital information about you, which will help them treat it. So the health app is the one with a red heart on. This actually counts your steps. It does all sorts of weird and wonderful things. Saying I've only done 30 steps today, that's because I haven't been carrying this phone around. But it would actually count the steps. But can you see in the top right-hand corner, there's an icon, which on my own phone is a photograph of myself. And if you tap on that, you can then enter health details, your name, your date of birth, your sex, your blood type, all sorts of things. I've no idea what Fitzpatrick's kin type is, but it must mean something to somebody. The thing that I find most useful, however, is setting up your medical ID. And you can list your medical conditions, whether you've got raised blood pressure. I've got atrial fibrillation. I haven't filled any of these things in because this isn't the phone that I normally carry about with me. But you can put about allergies, and you can then add medication. And my wife really found this really useful recently when she broke her arm and she had to go to hospital. And of course they asked her what medication she took, and she couldn't remember, but it was on the phone. So it's actually a good aid for memory. Most of us, I guess, memories are not as good as they used to be. Right, so that's medical information. Right, now, who uses the control center? Do you even know what the control center is? Let me bring it up on this screen. Okay, so here's what's called the control center. And I don't know whether you've ever used it, but it's a very quick way of getting into doing things like taking the photograph or switching your phone on. Sorry, switching your torch on. Opens the camera. Yeah. And can you see this one with the moon on? That actually is the do not disturb thing, and you can set that for 1 hour until this evening, or until I leave this location. Now, I've never actually tried that, but I assume you could, if you were at the theatre, for instance, you could actually set it so that it did do not disturb. In other words, you don't get any phone calls or FaceTime or messages or whatever during that time until you leave the theatre. Oops. You can also change the brightness of your screen. Again, it won't show up on your version of it, but it is actually changing the brightness of the screen. You can change the sound levels. You can play music, and you can add things to that. So we'll just look and see what you can add to the control center. So we go to settings. And I'm going to search for control center because I can't remember where it is. And this shows you the first items: torch, timer, camera, screen recording, are those things that are already in the control center. But if you want to add more things to the control center, like the alarm, calculator, magnifier is quite good, because that means that if you're in a supermarket, you can actually read the ingredients on the labels of things, which most of us certainly can't do. And can you see there's pluses by the headings? If you click on the plus sign, it will actually then put it into the control center. Okay. Next thing I want to talk about is AirDrop. AirDrop is a very useful feature to be able to send things to people who are close to you, who also have either iPhones or iPads or even Mac computers. The easiest way of demonstrating is to go to photos and just pick one photograph. Doesn't matter which photograph, pick this photograph. And then we can see how we can actually send this to somebody. It can only go to me because you're too far away from me. It only works within about 10 meters. But so if I wanted to send this picture to me or to my phone, down at the bottom left-hand corner, can you see the square icon with a little arrow on? That opens up all sorts of things that you can now do with that photograph, like you can copy it, you can add it to a shared album, etc., etc. But one of them, can you see this sign up here? It says AirDrop. So I'm going to tap on that. It then shows anything that's close, or any device that's close. So it's actually showing my phone. Tap on it. Now I don't know whether you could hear that. I certainly could hear it. It was beeped on my own phone, and it's asking me if I want to. If I want to accept. I can't get it there. Oh, okay, it's come up now. And if I now tap up accept on my phone, and now it's sent it to me. So that photograph has now gone to my phone. You can do that with other things too. You can do it with notes and all sorts of things from your phone. But I think it's most useful for things like photographs. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to look at was a thing called Find My. It used to be called Find My Phone, but they've now extended it because it will find other things other than phones. So, and there it is. It's that green thing. If you choose, you can actually share your location with other people, and they can share their location with you. So what it's actually, oh, sorry. So this is who has shared the location with this phone, i.e. it's me, and it says 0 kilometers away, which is right because it's sitting right in front of me. But if you tap on devices, it then tells you what it is. This is the phone, etc. And this can be quite useful. I had an instance when we were actually still doing one-to-one tuition at Avalon. I had my iPad with me there, and the student that was there also had an iPad. And when she got up to go, she took not only her own iPad, but she took my iPad as well by mistake. I didn't realize that until an hour or so later. But by using this Find My Phone, I was actually able to see that it was in Mona Vale, which is where I knew this lady lived, and told me, in effect, who'd actually got it. So it can be useful, but you need people's permission to actually share their location. Okay. So that didn't seem like it, but that was 10 tips. They're all in note form on the website. You can look at them either, obviously later on. You'll also be able to look and see, look and view the presentation again if you want to check up on anything. But now I want to talk briefly about iOS 14. First of all, you need to check, if you haven't installed it already, you need to check whether it is available for your phone. So you need to go into settings, tap on general, and then near the top of the screen, as you see, it says software update. Tap on that. In my case, of course, because I have updated it, it says your software is up to date, and yours might well be too. If it's not up to date, it will tell you, on the assumption that your phone is new enough to be applicable for this update, it will tell you that there is an update available and that you can download and install it. iOS 14 is available for all phones newer than iPhone 6. Some of the 6s, the 6S, can take it, but the 6 and lower than that or older than that cannot take iOS 14. It doesn't take long to download, although it's quite a big download. And let's look at one or two of the things that make iOS 14 quite different. So if we go back to the main screens, the home screens at the moment, as you see, look pretty well exactly the same. I've got two screens on mine. You can tell that from the number of dots that there are at the bottom. But if I go even further, we come to a new feature of iOS 14, which is the app library. So what Apple have done is they've, in their wisdom, have decided to put into what we would have called folders in the old operating system, similar apps. So you can see there's one there for utilities, productivity, creativity, etc., etc. And they're doing this because, as I say, over time, the number of apps that you actually get on your home screens becomes almost unusable. So you can actually open the apps from the app library. So I'm just going to open the music one, for instance. They're now making a big thing about Apple Music, and this phone has not been subscribed to to Apple Music, but this will take you there. What else can we look at? Oh, maps. Yeah, maps. So it's a way that they've devised for actually tidying up the growing number of apps that we might have. But another thing that they've done is they've introduced things which they're calling widgets. And you can install all sorts of widgets, and I'll just show you how to do that in a second, which actually stay on the screen and give you certain information. They're not apps, they just give you information. So you actually install them by tapping and keeping your finger in an area of the screen that's blank. And this enters what is officially called jiggling mode. And it's a mode that's been around for many, many years with iPhones. And it's how you can actually take apps off the screen. But can you see the new thing that there is on the top, there's a plus sign. That's never been there before. And if you tap on the plus sign, it shows you the widgets that are available. Couldn't think of the word then. And one of the things that I find is very useful, if I can find it, is which you can't. Anyway, I can't find it. But say you wanted the clock on. We can add the widget. Now you might ask, why does it say the wrong time? You know why it takes? Can you see the word on it? It says cup. That's Apple time, because that's where their base is, Cupertino in America. You can change that. But see what else there is. Oh, there's the weather widget. And so if you can see a phone with widgets on, you know, sorry, an iPhone with widgets on, you know it must have iOS 14, because no other operating system has had that. And I actually think that's quite a smart move. What else is new? Oh, here it is. Yeah, Apple Translate is new, which is here. And this works with either text or speech. So if I put in here, what time is it? It comes up with that in Spanish. Is that right, Lucy? Nod your head. Yeah, okay. Yeah. You can also do it with a phone. What time is it?
¿Qué hora es?
Yeah. Again, I don't know whether you could hear. Could you hear that? Nod your head if you could. Okay. The reason I'm asking is I've got Magic hearing aids, and sometimes it only plays through my hearing aids rather than playing anywhere else. So I wasn't sure you'd hear it. So that could be quite good. I can imagine doing that if you're a non-Spanish speaker or a non-French speaker or whatever it might be. That could be quite useful. The last thing I'm going to show you, because there are just so many, is a thing which they call back tap. Well, I say I'm going to show you. I can't really show you very well. Oh, I can, actually, I can. If I hold my phone up there, I'm just going to tap the back of it. And you see what magically happened? The control center came up. That was just through tapping it on the back. It's called back tap, as you might guess. And you can set that up to respond to either 2 taps, which mine's set up to, or 3 taps. But then you can set it up to do all sorts of different things. So where are we? Back tap. Now these are the things that you can set it up to do. You can set it to go to the home screen, the lock screen, mute, notification center. All of these different things can respond to either 2 or 3 taps on the back. So that's it as far as I'm concerned. Whether you've downloaded iOS 14 or not, I hope that you can see that there are great possibilities with it. And I mean, it only came out on Thursday, so we haven't had a lot of time to actually find out much about it. So one of the things that Greg mentioned was that we're having sessions down at Newport. I will be doing a session on the iPhone, and hopefully by then I'll know a bit more about what iOS 14 has to offer. So that's it, folks. If you have any questions, I'll try and answer them.
Well, thank you very much, Peter. What a magnificent presentation. Before I unmute you all, I think Peter deserves a clap. It was very inspiring. Thank you. And yes, we've just about finished the term schedule for Newport on Tuesday afternoon. It'll only be a 1-hour session, 1:30 to 2:30, and under more strict than the council's guidelines. There'll only be 10 people allowed with major spacing, masks, gloves, etc. So it starts on the 13th of October, and if you want to hear Peter again, the 27th of October. So that will give you more chance to have a bit more FaceTime rather than doing it on Zoom. At the end of our questions, I'm going to get Annette, who's going to be talking next week on what you can do with Google. So I ask you all to unmute yourself now and put up your hands, and Peter will try and see who puts their hand up first. If not, I'll help him out.
Rowan, yeah, come on, Rowan.
Hi. Thank you, Peter.
I don't think they can see me.
Rowan, you had a question? She can't hear.
No, I thought you said, sorry, don't worry. I'm looking forward to next week and learning about the Google.
Hi, Sherry.
Hi.
And I'm very glad to have downloaded the 14 because I'm already getting apps that I need that I didn't have before. So thank you.
You had a question, Sherry.
I did, and I'm sure it's a silly one. How do I find that app library? It just came up on my phone, but I don't know what I did.
How do you find it?
Well,
You-
it just, I was walking around and it just,
You swipe from the right to the left.
the right to the left.
Yeah. Keep going.
I'm in settings at the moment. I'll get it out of settings.
Yeah, go to the home screen
Yeah, yeah,
and then just swipe from right to left.
yeah. Then it just goes to,
That's not actually your face, isn't it?
oh, hang on, Peter. I think I'm doing it wrong. Yeah,
So if you scroll from right to left as far as you can go, you should get to the app library. Yeah?
ah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. You're always my saviour, Peter.
It's like most of these things, Sherry. It's easy when you know how. It's hard when you don't know how.
You always make it easy. When you send me the letters, you always make it easy. Thank you.
Good. Michelle, you had a question.
Yep, Peter, I've got an iPhone 6 and
Yep.
some time ago I learned how to create folders so that I could file some of my apps away, but I've forgotten how to do it.
Right.
I thought I just pressed the screen but it doesn't.
You press and hold one app. It doesn't matter which app,
Okay.
and they'll all start jiggling.
Yes.
Then you put your finger on the app that you want to move,
Yes.
and then drag it on top of
Yes.
another app that you want to have in the same folder.
Is that how you create a folder?
Yes, and
Okay.
that will create a folder. Apple will guess what you want to call it. If you don't like it, you can change it.
Okay. Thank you.
And you change it by holding your finger on the folder itself, and then you should be able to change the title.
Thank you.
Lucy.
Yes, what happened to me, what happened is that I went to the Apple library.
Yeah.
And I press onto the clock and I move it to the front screen. But then unfortunately I lost it and I don't know how to recover it.
You lost it?
Yes, I lost it because you know that you have the minus, you had a minus sign, and this is by.
Oh, no, okay. So was it
the clock? I was trying I was doing what you suggested.
Was it the widget?
Yes, the widget. That's the widget.
Okay, go back to the home screen. Go back to a home screen.
Ah, the home screen, yeah.
Put your finger in an area where there are no apps. Press and hold.
Yes.
Then you should have a plus sign on the top left-hand corner.
Okay.
Do you?
Yes, I did.
Click on, tap
yes,
on the plus. Tap on the plus.
It's a search widget.
Yeah.
Search widget.
Yes, when I press plus, there is a screen saying
search. Oh yeah, okay, it says search widgets.
Yeah.
Scroll from the bottom towards the top of the screen and you should find the clock eventually.
And I should swipe this. Oh, yes.
Now tap on the clock.
Uh-huh.
And then down at the bottom it says add widget.
Oh, fantastic. That's very useful.
And click on add widget.
Okay.
And it will tell you what time it is in Cupertino.
Fantastic. You're magical, Peter. Thank you very much.
Jan has a question.
Yeah. I just tried that and I came up with a whole lot of minus signs, not pluses.
No, there's a plus above all the minus sign, right up
the top corner.
In the top left-hand corner, there's a plus.
It's in the right, but yes.
It's in the right.
Yes.
No, not on mine.
No, just there. Whoops.
Doesn't matter. As long as you've got a plus sign, it doesn't matter.
I'll have to play with this.
Hello, Pamela. Oh no, you're Jane, aren't you? You're on, Pamela.
I am Jane, really. Yes.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. What can I do to help you, Jane?
I think I'm very excited about the heart thing. That
the heart, yeah.
But I've got it already, and my phone's a very old one, but it's already got a health thing.
Oh yes, that's not new in iOS 14. That's been around for a long time.
So can I use that instead?
How do you mean? Can you use it instead?
Can I put information in there? Well, I suppose I can. Yes.
You should be able to.
Yes, I can. I'll do that. I'll do that. That's a very good idea.
Yeah, because it means that say you had an accident and you couldn't actually talk to somebody, they can go to your phone and they can get into that information without needing to log into your phone.
Amazing.
So that's the good thing about it.
Yes.
Hopefully we'll never have to use it, but
it's a good idea. Thank you very much. All right.
Yes.
Any more questions? Yes, Jill.
Hello, I've got a couple of questions. The first one about battery backup. I am in the habit of just plugging the phone in overnight, Peter, and just leaving it on all night. And I've noticed now that a message comes up saying, this phone will finish charging at. So clearly I don't know, it must already have got this intelligence not to be having it sitting up there all night. So maybe it has its own battery protector in there. Would that be the case or not?
Yes, it does, but it's not good practice to actually just keep charging it and charging it and charging it. What I tend to do, and okay, this is my personal view, is I would keep looking at the amount of charge that there is on there, and I would not recharge it until it gets down to, I don't know, 20%. Sometimes a lot lower than that when I'm just not in a place where I can charge it. Then I think it's okay to leave it overnight. But just to keep plugging it in every night, I don't think is good practice.
Okay, I'll stop doing it.
Yeah. And just to go back to that backup thing, make sure you switch it off. And that means you're backing it up every time you're charging it.
Okay, shall do, thank you. And the other thing is, I noticed on the one that I have, and I can't even remember the number, sorry, everyone's way ahead of me on that, but with the camera, it always has the live button as, you know, like a little flash of movement at the beginning of a photo.
Yes.
Now, I just don't understand why that is the default. Why can't it just be just a still photo? Is there any way to make the no flash of movement at the beginning as the default?
Yes, there is, but I can't remember what it is.
Oh, I'm sorry, Peter.
I've just done it.
Yeah, you can do it every time you open the camera, but what
It's so annoying. It takes an extra second.
I know what you really want, and there is a way. I'm sure there is a way of doing it. You want it so that the live function is not there all the time.
That's correct.
You know what I mean? I'm sure if you go into the settings for the camera, there's a way of getting it to remember what the settings were the last time you used the camera. But I'm sorry, I can't remember the detail of it. It's the sort of thing you only ever do, you know, very infrequently.
Okay.
I'll have a look at it though, and if I find that it's different than what I just said, I'll actually send you an email.
Thank you, Peter.
So it's real live camera, isn't it? Yeah.
We'll have Sherry and then Michelle. Yes, Sherry.
Mine's quick. I'm not sure if the lady knows, but there's a little button at the top of the phone, Jill, little button at the top.
Yeah.
And you just press that and it switches live off.
I know, but you have to do it every photo. That's
Oh,
the
okay.
problem. I'm trying to work out why that's the default.
All the time.
You know, I'd rather not have it on and only use that occasionally. But it seems to be the default, which is different from the old phone used to be.
Yeah.
Oh, it's different than the old phone, is it? Oh, okay.
Well, the old phones used to just have a still. Like, you didn't have the flash of movement, the live.
Oh, no. Okay. Yes, I see what you mean. Yeah.
And then now you have to press another button. And if you're trying to get something quickly, by the time you've turned the thing on and then turned that off, and then it's another few seconds, and whatever animal you're trying to catch has already disappeared off the, you know.
Ah, yeah. Yeah.
It's just an annoyance, that's all.
Michelle, do you mind if we do Paul first? Paul.
I just wanted to mention I had the same difficulty, and the way to fix it is you go into settings on the phone, choose camera, and then choose the option that says preserve settings.
Yeah. I've just been playing about with it, and Paul's quite right. So,
Settings.
yeah. Yeah, and what the last option in the preserve settings is live photo. Preserve the live photo settings. No.
Michelle.
Yeah, okay.
My question's about the QR code again. When we get the app, do we download the QR code reader or the QR code scanner?
Should already be on your phone, Michelle.
Okay.
It doesn't actually matter. They both mean the same thing.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Doesn't matter.
Rowan, you have a question? Rowan,
Oh, I'm back to widgets. How do we get widgets? I'm back to widgets.
Right. So press your finger into an area of the screen which has no apps on it. Yeah, press and hold. And you should, no, I can't, you can't, we can't see that, Rowan.
Is nothing happening?
Well, have you got iOS 14, Rowan?
I downloaded it when you suggested that I do so. But basically I do this, do I? And then it comes up with a plus button up the top.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
It's in
All
an
right, that's
area,
all
you shouldn't be pressing on an app. You should be pressing on an open space, in background space.
It's not happening, but I'll find out why. I just needed to know how to do it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I'm going to stop this program now.